Hello everybody and welcome back to Throttle Grotto. This episode is all about Radwood and rallycross prep. Stay tuned. Alright everybody, so where do I start? Okay, so Radwood Northwest is a week away and prep. I got to get the car prepped for that. Well, what does that mean? I've got a leaking axle that just it won't stop. In fact, I'm going to roll the car back here in a couple minutes, and I'll show you the aftermath of this car. It's just been sitting here in the garage for a month and a half now, and it's bad. I have a solution. The other thing is, so in one of the previous videos, I blew the ECU completely to smithereens. Fried the fuel pump driver circuit and the spark circuit in the ECU. So completely bricked that. Bought an ECU online. It showed up, it was for an automatic. I figured I'd try it, and that didn't work at all. And so we had a pick apart thing come up, and I got a ECU at pick apart, which was another gamble, but I put it in and rewired the fuel pump relay so it runs off key power instead of ECU power. The ECU actually grounds the fuel pump relay in from the factory, so I rewired it to a key on power in the same thing, but basically added a fuel pump relay external to the factory wiring. So the fuel pump's working. I thought the fuel pump had died initially, but that wasn't it. So that's what's going on here in the shop today. I'm also going to add these waterproof connectors in so that I can wire up the LED fog lights that I bought. And hopefully we're going to fix this axle problem because it's pretty bad. So that's what's going on today here in the shop. Let's get to it. Alright, so this mess here, you can see all this. This mess here on this handy mat is basically all transmission fluid from the drive side of the NX transmission. It's just leaking out, and frustrating because transmission fluid's like $9 or $10 a quart, and it's frustrating to keep having to fill this thing. So first thing I'm going to do, clean this up, roll out this larger mat that I have to kind of keep the floor from getting bad, and then I'm going to work on the fog lights because they're positioned funny on the car. And then we'll get to work on the axle. Alright, so the thing with the fog lights is I just bolted them to the factory location, and I think I did that just to get them on the car and get them out of the way. So I've got to kind of fudge the brackets a little bit to center them in the holes so they actually look right and actually point forward instead of off to the side. Now, I may want them to point off to the side at some point if I put a center light bar in for doing, there's a night race coming up at the end of the month, or the end of September, so I may fill this hole here with a big wide light bar so it'll have tons of light. But for now, I'm going to pull these off and slide them over a little bit because they're not the factory fog lights. So that's it. It's almost comical how long that took. I had to drill one hole and bolt the bracket for the fog light to the body, or to the bumper support. But I didn't want to pull the front bumper, so I had to figure out the right combination of wrenches and angles and everything so that I could drill the hole and then get a wrench on the back side of the very thin area that I had to put the that I had to work in to get the nut on the back side so that the bracket would bolt up the way I wanted it to. So the passenger side took me like an hour and 15 minutes. The driver's side took me like 15. So, frustrating, but that part is done. All I gotta do is wire them up, and you already know. We already know how to do that. So, next thing I'm going to tackle is getting this thing up on jack stands, getting the skid plate off, which is absolutely disgusting from all the gear oil dripping on it, and then all the dirt. Sort of like a slurry built up on the skid plate. It smells horrible. So I'm going to get this in the air. Get the driver's side up as high as I can and then put it on stands, and then I'll start degreasing and getting all the crap off of it before I pull the axle out. Alright everybody, so I got the skid plate off and I'm laying underneath the car here, sort of on a creeper cam. No, wait, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, so I figured out where the leak is actually coming from. So I have to pardon all the angles here, but where I thought it was coming from was, alright, change the grip. So I thought it was coming from here, which is the CV shaft that basically bumps into the old or the big round seal here, but it's not. Which is, I guess, good and a bad thing. Good thing means that last time I put it together, I fixed it right. The bad thing means it's coming from somewhere else, which is actually, let's see if I can get crafty here. Okay, right up here is where the shift mechanism actually comes from inside the car, comes forward and actuates like this. You see that little boot moving right there? Well, that little boot has a seal on the end of it, and that little seal popped out of the transmission and caused it to leak. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back together for now. I can actually get to this. With the skid plate on the car, which is nice. I can just undo the shift mechanism, slide that new seal in, and derp. So I'll have to undo the shift mechanism to replace this seal, but the nice thing is that it's an easy thing to get at, and I've got plenty of time. So yeah, I'm going to clean the skid plate up because it's foul. It's so foul. And then I'll put the skid plate back on, hammer out all the dents that are in the skid plate. You can see I bent this bar right here that I built to go across. And I'll probably straighten that out a little bit before I put the skid plate back on. And then I'm probably going to make another little reinforcement piece for this ear down here because I destroyed that the last time I was out. The ear that's over on this side, this is like a skill, like filming yourself, like reverse all this stuff. This ear is still here, but yeah, this one broke off. Must have hit something pretty good. So I'm going to do that, clean everything up, fix the skid plate, and wire up the fogs before I put the skid plate back on. And that'll be it for today. So alright everybody, so the car is back together. I patched up the leaky shift bushing there, and I'm just going to turn the car on and make sure the fog lights work. So that is successful, and you can tell tons brighter than the stock headlights. So that'll come in really handy over some of the darker races that are going to come up later this season. So, and it kind of looks a little more rally that way. So anyway, that's it for this episode of Throttle Grotto. Next weekend is Radwood up here in Seattle. And then the following week, we're going to Dirtfish, and we're going to do a rally school on Friday, and then hang out on Saturday, watch the novice school, and then Sunday is another full day racing at Dirtfish. So a few things for you guys to look forward to. Plus there's another Carvelas episode coming out, and I've got a Wörthersee episode coming out, so there's going to be a lot of content coming out in the next couple of days, and hopefully I'll get some time to work on that tonight, in fact. So that's it. Until next time, get out there and work on something.